I want to talk about this one deal. Actually, my first real estate deal. It was a wholesale deal, obviously, and I'm fresh in. I mean, about 1, 2 months in, and I'm hyped up. I'm doing my research. I got a course from Mark Witten. I saw him actually on the Breakfast Club, so shout out to him and for getting me motivated. But I'm doing a search. I'm like, okay, today I'm about to call some people. I'm about to find me a deal, and I'm about 2 months in. I never tried this a day in my life, and this is a true story. I promise you. But I end up calling the guy. I'm going through Craigslist and I call a property, nobody answered. I call a property, nobody answered. Then I called another one and he answered. This is literally, now I'm not accurate on how many calls I made, but I know it wasn't no more than 10. But that I remember that last call that I made, the guy said that he wanted to sell. Well, obviously he wanted to sell because the property was on Craigslist. But we was talking. I'm super nervous. I don't know what I'm talking about. Well, I do, but I don't because I never actually put what I've been learning into action. So I'm talking to the seller. We ended up making the appointment. Now, I'm so nervous. This older white guy, you know what I'm saying, in Wisconsin. So like I'm like, dude, I got tattoos. I'm like, I had long dreads at that time, so I know that, I'm like, okay, he ain't gonna take me serious. So I get dressed up. I put on my nice little, I didn't put on a suit, but I was very, very clean. And I learned later on, man, like, look, if you're an investor, don't nobody care how you dressing. They care about the check. And if you know something. But anyway, when I pulled up to him, it was respect. He showed me the outside of the property, showed me the garage, and I'm listening, but I don't know nothing about no house, so I'm just listening to him. But good thing about me, I love people, so and I'm a good listener. I'm actually a better listener than I am a talker. But I'm listening to him, and he talking and telling me about the property, giving me all of the details, and I'm taking some keynotes in my head, and I got my notepad, and I'm writing on the notepad, and it was just so funny to see. I mean, to even think about how I felt during that time, man. And this went on for a few times, but like I said, I can blabber on a little bit. But okay, we ended up going into the property. It was vacant. Now, this was an inherited property. He was dealing with his brother, and it was just him and his brother, which was the heirs. And the brother wanted a certain amount, and he wanted a certain amount. I think they was asking literally for like $98,000 for the property. But as we went through the property, it really didn't need too much as far as I mean it was ready to be rented. You know what I mean? Until we went into the basement. This is what really blew me. I knew zero about this, which was the foundation. I mean, I'm looking at the house as we walking through it, and I'm pretty sure he knew I was a rookie because now I could spot these type of things. But when you looking at the house, the if you're looking at it from the side, this the front. This the front of the house, this the back of the house, and this is the porch. The porch was actually leaning. So when we went in the basement, like you could just see where the foundation was pulling the whole house a whole nother direction. But if he didn't say that to me, I would have put that property under contract way, way more than I did. But me being an actual entrepreneur, I know a little bit about numbers and how to do some research. So um, we come up with an agreement. I tell him that I want to do my due diligence just to make sure, and I'm gonna talk to my partners. And so I get to the house. I'm like, oh man, I'm so happy. I'm with my wife too. She went with me, and she always make me look good. But so I go home. I look up foundations, and I'm like, dang, how much is an average foundation cost? So they got so many different scenarios. So I just pick one. So like I tell people on my YouTube, and I tell my students, you start with the ARV, then you minus the repairs, you minus your fee. Well, actually, plus equity. So I know with this property, I ended up offering him $55,000 because what I seen was wrong with the foundation. It cost about 15, and the house, like I said, the inside didn't really need too much unless you wanted to put brand new counters into place, but like I said, it was a good rental area, and it was good enough for somebody to move in. So you didn't have to do too much, maybe paint or some little stuff. So I estimated the actual rehab about 10,000, and the foundation about 10 to 15,000. So that's 25,000. So I took that off. I knew I wasn't gonna make much on this. I'm just happy. So I take that. Um, I take the 50. So I got the 15, and then I got the 10 for the rehab. So that's 25. And then I wanted 5 grand on that. So that's 30. And that, with the, like I said, with the equity, that left probably about 20%. So I got him under contract for 55. And he agreed to it. He loved me. It was just, I mean, I'm going through the roof. I felt like Diddy when he slammed the phone. But anyway, so I'm like, okay, now I gotta find a buyer. Now this is real. So I'm thinking like, dang, I don't got no buyers. I don't know what to do. So I take some of the steps that Mark Witten suggested, and that helped a little bit, but I didn't get any contacts. And we want that instant gratification. So I'm like, who else can I call? So I was renting my properties, and my landlord was pretty cool. So I'm like, and I know he had a lot of properties in the area. So I called my landlord and I say, hey, I got a property over here. And it was crazy. It was in the suburb of Milwaukee, probably like 10 minutes away from where I lived. And he was like, he not buying in that area no more, but he knows somebody that is. So he hooked me up with this guy. I called the guy, and he immediately like, yes, I want it. Let's do it. And I'm like, no way. Like, this can't be this easy, man. So anyway, we meet like the next day. He come to my house. He sit on my couch meeting with a wife. I think she even got him some water. He signed the contract. So he signed the contract. And then, so now I had to open up escrow. So I'm like, I asked him because I'm like, he the buyer. So I really took his lead from there. So he said, look, we're going to use this title company. We're going to open up escrow. I deal with a lot of business with them. So we ended up opening up escrow with them. So um, just fast forwarding, because there's a lot of little details in there. When I had my buyer go to actually look at the property, matter of fact, yep, let me rewind it, before he signed the contract, because I think he came a couple days after. So when he went to go see the actual property, his friend ended up not knowing the seller, but he lived on the other block of the seller. So, they had something in common right there. And luckily, my buyer didn't say what was really going on to confuse them, because there's nothing wrong with wholesaling. It's just, it can confuse the people and they think that you're getting over. But anyway, he looked at it like I was the middleman, because they was two white men. He a white man. He see this black dude. He's got the paperwork. So after they leave, he tell me, I know the investors. I mean, I know your friends and all of that, your partners. And you know what? I don't want you in this contract no more. He literally told me he'll give me $500 and we going to end this contract. Now, I'm an Aries. I'm very, very cool. I'm very, very patient when it comes to people. But this right here, I had to swallow, and I had to remember that this is not a drug deal. This is not nothing that I used to do in the past. This is a real new business venture that I'm trying to build up. So I end up telling them, you know what? I appreciate it. I was explaining to him the value that I brought. Like, the deal wouldn't even happen if it wasn't for me. He had the property on Craigslist for about 2 months. Nobody could do what I did, and I told him this, and he just wouldn't understand that. But anyway, I told him, you know what, I'm out of it. Just do what you do. I called my buyer, said, man, you know what, that deal, the man telling me he just gonna give me $500 for putting it together. So I was like, I'm out. My buyer said, dude, is you crazy? He said, you crazy? He said, no, we getting you your money or I'm not buying the house. I'm like, what? So he said he wasn't going to buy the house unless I got my money. So the guy ended up really doing that for me, man. Ended up changing my life. It's a lot of little more details in there, but I can go all on and on and on about this deal, because it was it was a roller coaster, man. It was a roller coaster. I even gave up on it. And luckily the buyer didn't give up on me, man. And that's why I'm doing this right now. Because I want people to know that this is possible, man. But that first deal absolutely changed my life, man.